Way the Dragon Dreamer here, and now that you have your dragon connected with the leash and the tail, let's learn the basic infinity loop together so you can just go out there and demonstrate your dragon ribbon dance. The infinity loop uses the dragon going left to right, creating a repeating pattern that can go as long as you want. And this serves as a very good beginning movement before we go on to more advanced dragon ribbon dance sets of movements. To start the infinity loop, start with a short dragon leash hold with your dominant hand and hold on to the other end with the leash with your other hand. Make sure you're facing downwind so that the ribbon does not run into you as you're creating this pattern. Notice that when you're dancing outdoors, depending on the change of the wind, it is so important to face downwind because this naturally helps the dragon ribbon stay in front of your body. In fact, sometimes in windy conditions, it is much easier to practice the basic dragon infinity loop. Here's what can happen if you're going against the wind. The dragon ribbon will certainly run into you and make it a very difficult way to open up the ribbon apart. To do this move, I am doing the best version where you are using the dragon head from a down to up motion. Now, some of you, especially those with flow art experience, may choose to do this move with a up to down shape. This is completely valid, but it will become more difficult as you're doing more advanced movement for the dragon later. And to better help you with that, we're gonna use the lead stick that came with your dragon package. And here I'll be using a lightsaber instead to show you the difference between the two motions. The first thing I want you to do is to differentiate the up to down motion as if you have a stick or a sword and you're striking down versus having the stick down and striking up, almost like in racket sports where you're trying to hit the ball with a underhand position. Now, what I want you to experience is the difference between going from up to down from both directions. So look at this diagonal that I am making. And I want you to differentiate that with the reverse of it, which is to go from the bottom corners to the other side, this motion. Notice that even though these two motions both go from left to right, up and down, they do feel very, very different. And I want you to recognize that difference when we go back to using the dragon ribbon. All right, now that you have a feeling for the two directions of these similar movement, we're gonna go on to the final part where you're making circles on each side of your body. So what you wanna do is you wanna create a giant loop on one of your sides. And you can go both top down or bottom up. The important thing is I want you to do both and feel the difference going from, again, top down, striking motion, or bottom up. Once you're comfortable doing it on one side, let's use the same arm, but let's create it on the other side. So again, you can do a top down loop, or you can do a down up loop. Great, now that you've experienced the difference between top down and bottom up, the preferred way of when you go back to the dragon ribbon dancing is to make sure you're going bottom up. So from the side, again, it's very important that the circles that you're creating is a bottom up circle. If you're struggling with this, again, take a video from the sideways and making sure that when you go back to the dragon, it is a down and up motion. All right, now that you put the dragon back in your hand, first I want you to again try to experience the difference between a top-down movement and a bottom-up movement. Once you reorientate yourself with the two different feeling, I want you to think about creating circles, mainly using the bottom-up direction and not the top-down direction. If you're still struggling with running into your ribbons with the bottom-up motion, the next thing to focus on is the moment of emphasis when you're creating this ribbon dance. This is best explained when we are looking at someone else's dragon dance sideways. Notice that the emphasis of my toss is both up and forward, almost like I'm pouring water away from my body. It is rarely going up and backwards, which may cause frustrations when you're doing this, and you may run into your ribbons more often. I do want to use this chance to talk about the up-down infinity loop. This is a legitimate move which we will go over in future classes, but one of the challenges for beginners is sometimes when doing this, you toss the dragon behind you, which gets the dragon ribbon caught on your body. And this is why I highly recommend in the beginning when you just got your dragon to do the bottom-up version of this until you become much more comfortable with this movement. All right, let's do a quick review of everything. First, use a stick or something solid to help your body adjust to the two different motions, up, down, versus the reverse motion of down, up. For those of you who played racket sports before, it's more similar to hitting an underhanded serve than to spike down. You want to mainly use the reverse bottom up movement and not the top down movement when you switch over to the dragon ribbon. Once you switch back to the dragon ribbon, assuming you've got this bottom up motion, I want you to focus on keeping the ribbon primarily in front of your body by throwing the dragon both up and forward away from you, as if you're pouring water away. This way, you don't toss the dragon behind you, which makes it more difficult and sometimes gets the dragon ribbon connected to the body itself. I'm so excited for your dragon ribbon dance after infinity loop because there are many variations and movements that will become so comfortable to you once you master this basic movements. Here are some notable examples. You can actually make more circles on either side as you do this movement. This is one of the best ways to create more dynamic moves. Second, you will be able to create multiple movements all around you as long as you are respecting the principle of keeping the dragon ribbon in front of you. This will create fantastic shapes to your favorite music. Lastly, as I mentioned before, mastering this move means that you also create different directions that you can do the dragon ribbon. For example, you can actually do this movement backwards once you're comfortable with that. And as you can imagine, this will give you so many more different options on the dance floor and in the park. Thank you again for grabbing your own dragon ribbon and experience this dance with me. We have so much more information about how to get better at this dance and connect with some of the cultural roots of Chinese dragons. So please check out the rest of my channel for more useful information on how to improve your dragon ribbon dance.